I'm saying. That's what I want. If I can come on and then join a team later on, like for the summer, like I was saying,
A lot of, yeah.
full time.
That's been a pretty common thing with teachers is
Okay.
we'll bring on a half a dozen like right there at that like summer point.
Would you be able to put me in touch with any of them perhaps?
Yeah. Well, and if you're thinking about doing the summer game,
Yeah.
like that point, then that's us.
Yeah.
Because then you be coming on full time.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. We are doing a class today. And so you guys are listening on the class. My name is Mike Perna. This is Austin Pothast, Director of Sales with the Perna team. There he is. And we are midway through. Actually, we're only a quarter of the way through, but we will pick up the pace. It's going to happen. I'm going to go faster, I promise. And we are teaching people how to go get business in the business. Great course if you're considering getting into real estate or you want to know just a little bit more about it. Again, guys, pop all your questions in the comments. We'll be monitoring those, and we're going to take it away. Yes. So the question that was asked was, if somebody's a teacher and they wanted to come on to real estate full time, their best bet is probably wait until that summer break and then move into a full-time position, because then you've got that income right up there. And depending on how you structure your income with teaching, you should have income through the summer anyway, right? Without, maybe picking up one of the summer school courses just for an extra bump, but that's about it. Yeah. Because that gap, we've seen a lot of people do because they've got the consistent check, but they also have 100% time because of break, which is cool. And it really takes 90 days to 6 months to get up and running. So you're going to know by August 1st, like, hey, this is working for me or this is not.
Okay.
I'm either going back to school or I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Okay.
But that's how I would position that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, I would work on getting licensed and doing all those things and getting through boot camp. Probably that March, April time.
Yeah, I'm slated to take my test next week. I've done all the pre-licensing and everything. So I was just thinking like from now until June.
Yeah.
Work on like what you guys said, building that foundation, learning the business, and then trying to make that transition.
That makes sense.
Well, it doesn't even quite. Yeah. We can take it offline, but even that, it's like you can't. Like what you're going to be. I mean, think about what you're undertaking. Like you're going to be a teacher, and you're going to be a dad with a newborn, and you're going to try to learn.
Yeah, after hearing what this was, it seems like
it's difficult. Yeah.
Oh, right. Internet.
It's like there's risk.
I'm going to move him along. I promise.
There's just risk involved.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
Good. Internet leads.
Okay.
Go.
Internet leads. Okay. What are a couple places that we can go get leads from on the internet? Any guesses?
Instagram.
You're not supposed to answer, bro.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn's a good one.
Google. There we go.
Hey.
Facebook, Insta,
TikTok.
LinkedIn.
People do it.
All right, I'll put TikTok out there. It's a different animal. It's a different animal.
All the time.
Mike, can I ask you something? Do you have any agents that kind of go onto social media consistently, like create that branding of giving out value?
Yes.
About real estate and kind of driving traffic like
Absolutely. Joe's very good at that. Mark's very good at that on the team. I've actually got 4 or 5 agents that are really good at that. Melissa Anderson's very good at that.
Who do you think generates the most closings through strictly social media on the team?
Joe.
Joe. And
100%.
how many closings do you think Joe is going to get just off social media?
15, 20.
Bullshit. He's going to get 4, 6.
No.
He's not getting 15 closings.
Dude, no. If you look at his past client and his sphere business,
Yeah.
the way he runs it, and the way Joe runs it, and him and I had this conversation is he does not actually pick up the phone and call them as often as he needs to. And I pushed him into doing it because he's got a very strong Lebanese community, right? Like a very strong Lebanese community.
Sure.
Right? That's here in Metro Detroit. And with some of those communities, they tend to want to buy and sell with each other and things like that. Now, what Joe's very good at is posting the happy closing days, posting the information, taking some of the information that we're putting out there and reposting it on his Facebook, but he's also showing where he's living a successful life as well as a business person, which is very important to that community. That make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like he's got an uncle that's used him several times now that he does not talk to on a regular basis, but he's helped him buy and sell some investment properties. Yeah. Are you calling him?
Yeah. Keep
Oh
going.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Does the team provide training on how to really be a social media person? Because I get on and then I get off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'm not like,
Yeah.
More importantly, they do it for you.
But I want to.
When we create a lot of those assets.
Learn how to do it.
Yeah, so for our team members, when they get a 5-star review, we create that graphic for them,
Okay,
right? With the client review, with the 5 stars, all of it, right?
so I gotta make a page and then I will get with,
So you're on Facebook right now?
You don't need
no,
Okay,
Oh, you don't have a Facebook page.
I don't either.
so.
okay, man, that's easy.
Do you have
It-
to have
it's-
one?
No, you don't have to have
But
one.
it'll help.
And I'll be fair, like, I'm not a big social media person myself. Like, I'm
It's
just
just too
not.
much.
Yeah, so like in the last, like up until recently when my marketing department just
Saturday
took
morning, what's up,
over.
man?
Up until recently when my marketing department took over,
What
it,
can I do in a class? You need to debate.
I just didn't post for like a year and a half.
Yeah,
Cause it's just
I'm
not
putting you
who I
on
am.
speaker, okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mark Whitehead, true or false? You are like damn near best friends with Joe Chidiak.
Yes, true.
How many closings is he going to have via social media this year? Because Mike thinks he's the number one guy on the team.
For social.
I don't, less than five for sure.
All right. So Mark's saying less
So
than
not 15. Yeah.
All right.
You got
Well,
it.
prove it wrong.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't want to sell you false hope. The number one guy on our team who's amazing at it is doing, you certainly would say under 8, correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't even categorize him as amazing in social media.
Well,
There you
and he's the number one closer on the team.
He's
How
the
many do you
number one
get
closer on
from
the
social media?
Uh,
Actually, you are our number one, you and Joe
I think
are
Mark's
number one
right
runners
now.
this year. How many do you think you got from social media?
we're like tied neck and neck. I don't know who's gonna finish. Less than 5.
Less than 5. Okay.
Yeah, we do very much in social media.
All right.
I'd
Thank.
like that to be a little
Yeah.
better. I'm working on trying to get that a little better. That's where it is.
Well, you're either doing it or you're not doing it, man.
Dang.
Which one is it?
Shots fired.
Oh, no.
If you follow me, I'm doing it. I post 3 times.
So do you follow me, punk?
I do follow him on social media.
He says he stalks you.
I see his post every month he puts up.
All right, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've heard from a few different agents that it's just, some people like get nothing from it and other people get all of it from it. I think it just depends on how you use it, you know, who you have and who you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Thank you, man. See you.
hang on.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are working on internet Facebook, right?
15. Keep going.
I will actually verify the number because I know it's more than 10. I actually know that for a fact.
All right. He's mad at me. Look. He's mad at me. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
That's my point that I was trying to make.
All right. So we've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I put TikTok on this side. What else we got?
Snapchat.
Snapchat. I'll put that on this side. I'll put YouTube on this side.
Does Google fit here?
Google. I'll put that here.
Your website?
Website. I'll put that here. And this ties into this one. and
Next
this one.
door.
Next door.
That's a really good
Oh,
one.
I'll put
God.
that.
Every one of my dogs is a realtor on
I
next
next
door.
door,
That's
That's all I see on next
Someone
door.
posts for a realtor, it's like 150 people. I can help you. I've been doing this for 4,000 years.
So we're talking about where people look for homes, and I'm putting them into the perspective of a funnel based on time frame of making a purchase or selling a home, where people go. And we're missing the bottom of the funnel.
Door knocking.
Door knocking, but that's more offline than online. But that one I will put here.
What about expired listings?
Yeah, that one I will put here.
I heard a realtor did really good doing that.
That was me.
Was it?
Yeah, they sell 20 homes a month on expires. Missing the big ones. When you're looking at homes, where do you guys go?
Oh, like Zillow?
Julia.
Boom,
Oh.
boom.
That's the premier agent.
Do you have to pay for that though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a third one. There's a third one.
Oh my God.
Anybody? Realtor.com.
Home lighting.
Yep. Now those are our major internet lead generation websites across the web, right? This is where people go when they're looking for something. This is the point that they don't know what they're looking for, or even that they are looking. This is the point where they're hot and heavy and they're ready to make a purchase. Is that fair? And then as we go down this funnel, the cost goes up. Right? So taking into account, let's say Facebook. So in 2018, something very nifty happened mid-year where surveys started to show that people were getting their news more from Facebook than they were from Google, which is interesting. It's different. People are starting to get their news. Think about this, guys. They're starting to get their news more from Facebook than Google. So when they're Googling, they're not Googling and getting New York Times or Wall Street Journal or Forbes or any of those things. They're just seeing the articles that Facebook's feeding them. What do you guys think?
So much so that they started putting like warnings on here,
Mhm.
like on the post, like this is
Yep.
not necessarily true. It's
Yep,
not
just so much that they're putting
'Cause
warnings on the
people were
post.
believing everything they see.
Damn straight they were. And based on their clicking, they're getting reinforced.
Yes.
Isn't Facebook called Meta?
Yep, they changed their name to Meta. Yep, because they want to do the whole metaverse thing.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
weird.
I'm not gonna start calling it.
No.
Are you on Meta?
Yeah.
So people, any guesses how long between somebody starts thinking about buying a home and when they actually transact?
A year or two.
That's actually diddly accurate. It's between 12 and 28 months. Right? A lot of times people will, especially like kids out of college, they'll get their first job and they're still 2 years away from getting a home because they need to like build some equity with the company. They need to get a raise or a promotion, or they need to go get scalped by another company, but they're thinking about that purchase 2 years down the road. So they start looking online, right? So Facebook is a great way to do it because you can get them way at the top of the funnel because people are literally on Facebook and Instagram all the time. We know this. We know the average person that logs in 17 times a day to Facebook and Instagram. How many people have logged in less than 3 times today so far? 2. Okay. 3. Seriously, this is the way it is. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, what about, I meet a lot of people, like younger people that haven't got established credit. They want, the future plans are to buy a home, but need to build their credit. And obviously that comes down to, consistency in payments and things like that. So what about nurturing a client through signing them up for a lease first, getting them used to the repayment schedules of the lease and then transitioning them into a home sale after that when the lease is up for renewal?
That's a great question. Okay, so, and I used to do that until I figured out how to fix the credit faster than the lease came up.
Okay.
So if I put somebody in a lease, then I'm 12 months away from a paycheck. Right? And I'm saying that in a very selfish manner, and I'm going to clarify that in a minute as well.
Sure.
That is selfish, but stay with me. There are people actually watching, like consumers. Right now, you can get somebody that like doesn't have credit, let's say, not bad credit, but doesn't have credit to establish credit and into a mortgage in under 6 months. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So why would I wait a year, A, for a paycheck?
Okay.
And then B, why would I do that to them? Because right now with the rate of appreciation, if they're waiting 6 months, that home went up in value 8 to 10%.
Yeah.
So that home at 300,000 that they could afford is now 330 and they can't afford.
Mm.
It's a better position for them to get into the home as fast as possible.
Okay.
Right?
Great.
And that's been the case since 2011. So from 2011 forward, I don't care if somebody likes a home or not, they just need to buy it. That's the actual financial truth of real estate.
Mm.
Truthfully, guys, that's it. That is it. And if you guys have no people that are like sitting on the fence and they're like, well, I'm just not seeing anything I like. I don't care. You got to live somewhere. Buy it anyway. It's going to go up in value 15% in the next year. And then go find the house you actually like.
Mm.
Am I wrong? No, it's a good point though. But yeah, we can get people through the credit bubble faster if they get like a Fingerhut card, if they get like the Chase Amazon Visa and maybe the Chase Sapphire. Like those 3 will get them to where they're going if they apply for all 3 on day 1 and on month 6. They've got them under 20% balances. Yep, and then they're above 700 credit.
Great.
Yeah. So young people is actually, and some credit card companies have gotten like wise to this, but Amex hasn't. If they have a parent or a relative that has an Amex card for $50 user fee per year, you can add them to the Amex, and then their credit history the next month will flip and extend backwards through their parents' credit.
Right.
So that's what I did when I went and bought a house. Was my dad attached me to his cards. I didn't have a card and I couldn't use it, but it looked like I had like a 20-year credit history at 20 years old.
Mm.
That's great.
Yeah.
It has to be with Amex?
Amex is the only one I know that's actively doing it right
There's
now.
a
But it used to be Amex, Visa, Discover. What was that?
There's a couple of them. I think with Capital One, with
Mhm.
with my sister actually.
Okay, there you go. So Capital One, which is Visa, if I remember right. Yeah. But there's very specific, and some of the banks have stopped doing that. Some of the credit cards stopped doing that, but it's a great way to build credit fast.
Yeah.
So people here, so we do a lot of Facebook advertising to get people at the top of the funnel because I can generate leads at $3 or $4 a lead, right? With Facebook marketing. And you can set up a Facebook business account and you can pay them to boost out a house, right? And then a house, then the landing page, it takes them back to the website and then they got to register for information. Downside is you get a lot of Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse. You know, literally people type this stuff in. This is what happens. You do get a lot of that, but you get a lot of real people. And then when you get them on the phone, they're like, yep, I'm looking, but I'm still a year out or a year and a half out. So even though this lead is the least expensive, it requires the most amount of effort. Because now you got to follow up with them every 19 days for 2 years. Does that make sense?
Mike, roughly how many leads do we find that how many Facebook, like they clicked on something, they filled out the information on a Facebook post, does it take for us to get to a closing?
That's about 1 in 8.
1 in 8 filled out their information.
Yep, over a 30-month period.
And
No. From the fill out the information to the closing, it's about 1 in 8 over 30 months
So it takes 2.5 years to get there.
to get through. the
How many
tax. Yeah.
how many views, interactions do we have to get 1 click?
Right now, let me think about that.
Like when they fill
Because we're around 400,000 views a month to get 2,500 leads. So I've got view to lead. 400,000 divided by 2,500. So it's about 160 views to 1 lead. I need 2,500 leads today to fund the business 12 to 30 months from now.
Yeah.
Which is why we went and got 2,500 leads a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because there are people that are joining the team today where these guys have been in our view, like in our CRM and what kind of I call the cauldron kind of bubbling for 2 years. So there are people that there are people on the team right now that are selling people homes that came to us a year or 2 years before our agent even got licensed.
Yeah, a lot of these appointments that we're handing to our agents we've been nurturing for 2 years already. How many, on average, what's the cost, like per closing, like everything, because we're doing a lot of boosting.
Yeah.
If you want to get those kind of numbers, you got to boost.
Yeah,
right?
we talk about everything combined, it's about $750 per closing.
It's going to cost you $750 per closing, and it's going to take you 30 months to get that closing.
So
On
Google,
Facebook.
yeah, and Nextdoor is in here. It's kind of between Google and Facebook, but Google is next up. Pay-per-click got
Can I
super
just ask?
popular.
That $750 per closing, is that something the agent actually pays at the time?
Well, not on the
Commission
team.
check or?
Not on
is
the
it
team.
cost the
Not on the
company?
team. Yeah,
Yep,
we-
cost company.
Okay.
Yep, good
All
question.
this stuff we're paying for,
Yep.
and we have a machine that's just doing all this. If you were to do this on your own, that's what you can expect.
Yeah.
Right, and you need to be able to wait 2.5 years to get there.
When they click on it, you're paying pay per click on this?
Mhm.
What is the average cost of that?
Like 5 cents, 10 cents. Yeah, Facebook's cheap, but you get a lot of junk with it too, which sucks.
Yeah.
You get a lot of looky-loos, you get a lot of people from out of area.
That's the worst part.
It's worse when you get like water properties or like unique properties. So like we had a home at one point that was 3 million we were advertising. I think I got 1 lead from it, but it had like 15,000 clicks.
That's
Now the 1 lead was Mickey Mouse,
Yeah.
so that came to nothing, but I still had to pay for the 15,000 clicks,
Oh, wow.
irregardless of the result, which really sucks, by the way.
And each one of those people, in order to get a hold of them and talk to them, you've got to dial someone on average between 11 and 33 times. So like you think of a post that's going to generate whatever. It's like maybe you have to generate 500 leads. You got to touch each one of those between 11 and 33 times. Again, it's like we have people on our team that are doing this for our agents, but if you were to do this on your own, you'd have to do it that way.
Yeah.
So what's that? 15,000 phone calls? Like, you're sitting there just
Yeah.
in order to touch base with people. Yeah.
So now Google is a little better, right? So those guys are mostly around the 12-month mark. So we only need to follow up with each Google lead around 30 times to get to the closing, because we're about 12 months in. Right.
Yep.
And we call them once a month, text them once a month, email them once a month. That's 36 touches right there. And CTE is what we do. Call, text, email. Call, text, email. That's our rate. Yeah.
You mentioned that the company provides qualified leads to the
Mhm.
agents. How many leads on average a month would an agent get? And what would the closing rate on those leads be?
Great question. So we've got two different ways that we deliver leads to agents. One is through our pond system. So all of our leads here, right, essentially, let's call it here and above, are going into a pond system, right? And from there, the agent can scoop out whatever they want. If they need another closing because they want to take their kids on vacation and so they want to make a quick $3-4 grand, great. Jump into the ponds, go find a client, go show a home, sell a home. You're good, right? Make up 100 dials, connect with somebody, get out there, right? So that's up to the agent and what their goals are, right?
So the day you start on the team, we give you access to
Yep.
70,000 clients that we're actively dripping on.
Yep. And we pull them in
or
through this
somewhere.
funnel.
And those are
Yeah.
unclaimed, right? So like, if you have a great conversation with a client, you just claim it, and nobody else on the team can call it. It's your client.
Mhm.
So I've got 70,000 unclaimed leads and 100 agents. It's just like
Mhm.
our biggest challenge by a mile. And these are all families. These are all people that have to live somewhere. You know what I mean? They're all gonna buy something at some time.
That one seems really like a numbers game, just kind of.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
all it is. And honest to God, that's all it is, because
Yeah.
you're trying to find, in my opinion, you're trying to find one of two things: the person that wants to transact today and the person that wants to transact within 12 months that you're just going to follow up with every so often, right? Both, because you're going to need a closing now to fund your life, and you're going to need a closing in 12 months anyway, right? And people always go to the agents that they know, like, and trust. So that's the goal with all of these interactions, which I think a lot of agents miss that point, right? So to answer your question, you can pull as many of these as you want out. So that's up to you to fund your life the way that you want to fund it. And for some people, that means they want to make $45,000 a year as added income to the family. For some people, that is $75,000. For some people, it's 100. For some people, it's 150. For some people, it's 2. It's just up to the person, right? But if we know the number, we can backtrack it to the actions needed to fund that life. Now, with the set appointments, which are some of these, but a lot of these, plus sign calls and some other stuff, because these are so expensive, I need them answered. There's a reason for this. I'll get to. Those are inside sales associates, and there's 2 sitting in the Novi office right now, button chair, answering the phone. They will set the appointment and put it on our agent's calendar, right? Now, those should close somewhere in that 50% range, right? Now, when I say 50%, I mean 50% over 6 months, because even the people that are calling in and saying, I want to go see this house, are not necessarily going to transact on that house. In fact, 90% will not. Right? They'll go see the house, realize that it wasn't what they wanted because it backed up to a main road, or it's next to a swamp, or you know what, it wasn't the school district I thought it was, or yeah. And then from that point, you're creating a relationship and then taking them out and showing them other homes. And then sometimes something will happen where they say, man, I really want to get pre-approved for 50,000 more to do this. So I'm going to wait 2 months, sock some money away to increase my down payment, increase my pre-approval, and then we'll pick it back up. Right? So for every 4 appointments that we give you, 2 closings are popping out on the other side. Okay. And then that number is determined again by the income goal. Because like if somebody wants an income of 75,000, I'm not giving them the same number of appointments as somebody that's targeting an income of 55,000 or 120,000. Right? Because if I treated everybody the same and gave everybody the same, let's say at that 120 level, then the 75,000 person, the 60,000 person who's living their best life doing that would both not close those deals because they don't have to, and they'd be overwhelmed and probably just leave. Because they'd be looking at me and saying, Mike, you're overworking me. Right? And same thing on the other end. If I'm funding a 120 guy with a 75 guys worth of leads, they're like, well, you're underfunding my goal. So I too am going to leave. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we're trying to tailor it down to the individual, which is really our goal as the team is made up of all of the goals of the individual agents. So we did our 2022 event about a month ago. Yeah, about a month ago.
Yep.
And we took all of those goals, we put them all on these white sticky pages. They're moved off to the side. And then I literally just hand added them all up. And now I know what I need to do to fund the team to get to that goal to make sure everybody's hitting their numbers. Which, funny enough, was within about 10% of my projection anyway.
It was like eerie.
It was scary dead on. Yeah. That's what I do on the team. So Google is around $16 to $28 per lead. They're around 12 months out. And that's just like when you Google something like houses for sale in Farmington Hills, Michigan, right? Just as a random, right? You'll see some ads up at the top and some ads at the bottom. If you're on a desktop, sometimes they're on the side, but that's those ads. right? And you're paying per click, and that is based on who you're bidding against, other competitors for those same keywords. Is that fair? Yeah. But they're also a little lower down the funnel. So you're paying 4 to 6 times as much, but they're also not necessarily 3 years out. They're more like 12 months out, because this is somebody that's purposefully going to a page to Google something that they want to go see, versus Facebook, which is just showing randomness. And they're like, oh, this is a cute house. I might want to look in this area at some point. I'll click on it to see what it looks like. Because those are two different people, right? Bless you.
Thank you.
And again, the goal there is to get them to the website. LinkedIn's not bad to go and grab data from, especially if people get new jobs or promotions, or they're moving into the area or out of the area, things like that. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Those are our bottom of the funnel people. Now, what Zillow's goal is, and Zillow is not a real estate company. They were up until a couple of months ago. They were actually buying homes and selling homes. But what their goal is to be a marketing firm. So right now, Zillow is averaging 54 million hits per month, right? And they're very, very easy with it. They don't require signups. They don't require any of that stuff. But people, what they do is they want to build the habit of going to Zillow in people. And frankly, I do when I'm looking for a home. I'm not going to lie about that. As a real estate agent,
I look at Zillow, yeah.
I look at
I
Zillow.
found the house that I've been on.
I
So.
can't afford on Zillow, say.
Right.
One day.
Bottom of the funnel, by the way, meaning closest to transacting. Like our average Zillow client is about 110 days, right?
Yep.
110 days from transacting. How much does it cost per
Yeah.
name?
Right now we're running around $275 per lead.
Just to get one name?
Mhm.
When you say 110 days, is that at all times of the year? Because right now
Yes.
I've got some clients, but the trouble is there's no inventory for them.
Yes, it's still all times of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All
And,
times a year, yeah.
and there are other scripted, we can get with you after this, but there are ways to move that needle for the people that don't have any inventory. We can move that needle.
Okay.
And we do all the time.
Great.
Right? So that's the number. So the number one most common thing that buyers are saying to us right now is we want to wait. All right?
'Tis the season.
For any number of reasons they want to wait. But the reality is people are treating real estate like they're treating everything else, and everything else is being treated like McDonald's and Amazon, right? We became a McDonald's society in the early 2000s where everybody expects something now and today, and Amazon made it worse with 2-day delivery, 1-day delivery, and now sometimes same-day delivery. Yeah, like I've literally ordered stuff at 9 a.m. and at 2 p.m. they're like, here's a picture of it dropped off. I'm like, really, bro? Is this what we're doing? But now people are thinking that's what buying a house is. They forget that from the day they start looking to the day they close, or well, the day they get keys, should I say, is usually 75 to 90 days. People forget that. So somebody that's looking today is not moving till February, sometimes March. They're just not. So if they're saying they want to wait till after the holidays, guess what, guys? We are actually after the holidays. We're actually moving towards summer.
Yeah.
So that's a different conversation and a different script and dialogue, which we teach at a high level on the team. So if you've got 3 of them.
Where do you
You're
need to be at a
also-
certain time and work backwards from there?
Yep. And we've got a couple of good scripts and dialogues we can teach that we do teach on the team to get through that. That's what we've been actually going very heavy on the micro teaching right now. And it works because a lot of people they just don't know. And so we need to be a counselor to them on their own goals.
Yeah.
And there's different reasons behind it. So we gotta ask enough questions to identify the reason and then hammer out the reason, essentially. Yeah.
So, as agents, are your agents allowed to work with like broker shops and stuff like that?
Yes. So with the multiple listing service, as an agent, if I've got a home for sale, I'm gonna put it on the MLS. And I'm gonna give access to all 13,000 agents in Metro Detroit to be able to bring me that buyer. And I'll pay them a commission to do it. Right? Absolutely. And then same thing the other way, right? If you've got a buyer, you wanna be able to show all the properties. Right? So again, you go to the multiple listing service and you say, okay, here are all the properties that are available. Well, 97% because 3% are for sale by owners that don't want to work with real estate agents. And you can go and show and sell any one of those properties. Absolutely. That's a good question. Yeah.
One more thing I would add to
Yeah.
that is you're also not working, like when you take personal responsibility for this, you also don't have any clients. It's like, so any of our guys that are closing 4 to 6 deals a month, at all times, they have 15 active clients.
Yeah.
15, right? And so like,
That's true.
part of the challenge is like, part of the challenge is you might, and I don't know how many people you're working with, but like, one of the things that I teach is 8 to 4 to 2, meaning if you have 8 clients that are actively out looking at properties, or like you're meeting with to sell their home, 4 of them at any given time will be offering, and 2 of them will go pending. 8, 4, 2. So like if you want to have 4 closings every month, you need to have 16 clients. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's part of it too. It's like you can't speed up someone's time frame. I mean, you can. There's some scripting that you can do, and we teach a lot of it. But like ultimately, if somebody really doesn't have their lease come up until September, it's like you can't speed up that timeline. So instead of like trying to ram that in, it's like you find more clients.
Yep.
You know
So
what I
you
mean?
just gotta identify, is it a condition or is it objection?
Yeah.
Condition, can't do anything about it. Objection, you can't. I can't change the term of a lease, but I can change somebody's mind around something
842.
with facts and figures and reality. So
842. It works so well,
Yeah.
Terry, by the way.
So ZillowTrulyRealtor.com, these are the most expensive. To break into it, you really need to be spending around $1,500, $2,000 a month. Like honest to God, that's just like the bare minimum break in to get enough leads and enough market space in one zip code to get 1 closing per month. Because again, we're looking at 1 closing per month, right? So 1 closing per month. With Facebook, you're going to be spending $200 to $300 per month. And with pay-per-click, you're around $500 per month. And that's to get, again, I'm going after 1 closing per month. The reason of the price differences is this is extremely high effort. So you're talking to this person 36 times a year for about 3 years, right? It's a lot of touches. That's 100 efforts, right? You're talking to this person 36 times over 1 year. So less efforts, but it's more expensive. And then this person, a lot of them are just calling up and saying, show me this house. So it's 1 effort per ticket to an appointment in a lot of cases, or 3, 4, 5. If that house was pending and they want to wait for the next one to come up, then you got to stay in contact with them during that time. Does that make sense?
The question is, what's your time worth to you?
Exactly. So part of it's yeah, that's a great point. So part of it's what's the time worth, but then also, like, with this one, the way that Zillow specifically, and now Realtor.com is following suit, is running it is, if they're putting that phone call in, right? So they're driving the consumers towards the phone whenever possible, right? They want people to pick up the phone and call and say, I want to go see this house, right? So you're in a zip code, you're in a zip code, I'm in a zip code. Fair enough. Let's say that you're on an appointment and it's your turn for a lead. Your phone rings 3 times and then it goes dead, right? You didn't answer the phone because you're spending time with the client. I had the next up highest pickup rate at 90% plus. Your lead will go to my phone now, because Zillow cares more about the trust with the consumer, because they have a really bad reputation with that over the last 20 years. They want to build the trust with the consumer that someone will actually pick up the phone when they call, versus making sure that you get the lead that you paid for. So they're promising an opportunity at a lead, but you won't necessarily get it, right? Now, if I don't answer the phone, then it goes to the third person. So somebody's going to pick up the phone, and that's what Zillow's promise to the consumer is: you will get somebody on the phone that will show you the home or answer questions or whatever that is, right?
We're picking up the phone, by the way.
Yeah.
7 days a week, we get some.
Like if I'm calling Zillow for a house,
Yep. So if you call Zillow for a house
I've
right
had
now,
trouble getting hold of people.
and therein lies the issue.
Like no one calls me back.
And therein lies the issue. Now, that's an interesting thing. So the studies have shown that just over 1/3 of all phone calls from clients to agents never get returned, period.
Yeah.
Right? Another 20 some odd percent, I don't remember what the exact number is, another 20 some odd percent takes 72 hours to return. The return call or text is 72 hours later. In an Amazon society, is anybody waiting 72 hours for a phone call back from a real estate agent? Absolutely not. Right? 72 hours from now, that house is gone. Let's be real. In this market, that house is gone, and the client lost that opportunity, which is, again, same reason why from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week, I've got 2 bodies in the office sitting there picking up the phone every time it rings. And I don't care if it's a Zillow call or a sign call or a, hey, I heard your ad on the radio call, or whatever that looks like. When the phone rings, it is answered. It's what we do.
Yeah, by and large, it means that we also pick up more market share, because if
Yeah.
we're competing against an individual agent and they're in an appointment, that means by definition, they can't pick it up, which means that by definition, our pickup rate percentages go higher, and all Zillow cares is, did it get answered? And they do a little client survey, so our percentages on everything are.
Yeah.
So we just.
You're right,
when we
Cody.
go into a zip code, like if you were buying
Thanks,
if
Suzette.
you're buying leads in a zip code and we came in, get out.
Yeah.
It's like we're
So-
gonna eat that up.
Check this out. Because of that, we're also getting around a 40% bonus because I get your leads and I get your leads and I get your leads and I get your leads, right?
Mhm.
So that 1,000 for another agent is really 600 for us. Right? So everybody complains that Zillow is super expensive and it's not worth it. And sure, yeah, I mean, if you pick up the phone less than 80% of the time, it is not worth it. Because I pick up the phone more than 90% of the time, so I'm gonna take some of your leads. And I'm not paying for them. You already paid for them for me. And thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I mean, and
You're welcome.
in my experience, this company has a pretty good reputation. I mean, it's pretty well known, so.
That's their
I feel
goal.
like people would more so trust to work with Keller Williams or some other household type of manager.
That's the goal. But-
Versus
and with-
someone else.
With consumers, so this is the way the consumer mind thinks, right? So when people are buying a home, 80% of people are looking at homes, not agents. Now, there are a solid 20% of people that say, yes, I actually want to find an agent first, get that relationship right, and then have that person assist me with the home. But the reality is, especially when it's first-time home buyers, which is almost 100% of the time, they're not looking for agents, they're looking for homes. So if you go to any real estate website on the planet, right? If you go to Zillow, if you go to realtor.com, if you go to our website, if you go to Keller Williams website, if you go to any of these sites, the very first thing you see above the fold when it comes up is just a search bar for properties. It doesn't tell you about the agent, doesn't tell you about the team, doesn't tell you about the company, doesn't tell you about any of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, all the consumer wants to see is there a home available for me in this neighborhood? Because until that happens, none of the rest actually matters. And that's how most consumers think. Now there's a solid 20% to go the other way with it, and they want to create an agent relationship first. And there are different ways that companies like Google are starting to promote that. But by and large, all people want to do is see the homes.
It's like there's a million SUVs on the road until you're in the market for an SUV, you never notice them.
That's right.
And when you want the one you're after, you see every single one.
That is
on the
called,
road
yep.
every time.
Oh,
There's
that
actually,
always
yep,
keeps-
yep, and the term for that is called Blue Buick syndrome.
What's it called?
Blue Buick syndrome.
Blue
Blue
Buick
Blue
syndrome,
Yep,
that's funny.
yeah, that's the
I
actual.
know, I see my
Oh
car
my.
everywhere.
That's it. Like you've never seen a Blue Buick ever. Has anybody ever seen one? Not until you buy one.
Now I'm gonna
And
see
now
it
everybody's got
all
it.
over.
Yeah.
One right now.
Yeah, that's an old automotive term, but it's applicable. So if we're gonna fund ourselves with one closing per month from this lead source, we've got to be spending $200 to $300 a month here, $500 a month here, or $1,000 a month here, or some conglomerate of it. And again, depending on, to your point, effort, time versus money, right? And a lot of people have got to start here because getting into real estate, you're already spending on the licensing, you're already spending on the test, you're already spending on the board, you're already spending on the MLS. So there's not a lot of dollars left for this. Is that fair? But this is how you do it. So when we're doing our Facebook advertising, we're not advertising the team saying, hey, look how cool we are. We're pretty slick. We're saying, check out this house that we just put on the market. Right? Hey, I just put a great home on the market for $450 in Royal Oak. Scope it out. And then I'll get 10 people register. One of them will actually transact sometime in the next 12 to 30 months. Right? But the acquiring of that one person is like $100 or $150. Right? Fair enough, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions on internet lead generation. And I will talk about this in just a second. The other side of the funnel. Questions on internet lead generation. Okay. So TikTok, Snap, YouTube. This is more of a branding play. And this is still being developed, right? Especially TikTok. TikTok 2.0 is here. TikTok 3.0 will come out probably, I would guess, May to June, because things are evolving very fast, right? Faster than before. So nobody's figured out TikTok yet in the real estate space, just to be honest. As far as selling homes, people have figured it out on a monetization level. Like, how do I make money from TikTok specifically? People have also figured it out from a referral level, right? Because with TikTok, you need a massive amount of people watching you to drive any sort of presence. Is that fair?
Yeah, I feel like you have to go viral. Like, there's
Yeah.
some real estate agent on there though. She like does dances,
Mm-hmm.
and she always pops up on my thing. But I'm like,
Yep.
I wish I lived in LA. So like,
You see, and therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
So if you lived in LA, would you buy a house from her?
I don't know. I mean, I feel
might.
like she'd be too expensive. She's too famous. But
You might.
like,
You might.
That
But I'll tell you what,
Fun.
I'll tell you what, you are 100% more likely to buy a house from her if you lived in LA instead of Michigan, because she does not do business here. But yet you're sitting here in Michigan watching her. I watch Glenda Baker. I like Glenda Baker. I think she's amazing and she's funny and she's hilarious and she just sits there and she cusses and she spits and it's awesome. And she's like, fuck this, fuck that. Like literally, like this is Zilla. This is how this
Who is
works.
she?
Glenda Baker. I don't even know where she's at. I don't really care where she's at. She's fun. And she's become very well known, especially, I mean, frankly, among realtors, as just being hilarious, right? And look her up, she's great. And the reality is, you know, with 1.5 million followers, how many of those are really in her community and going to think about her and pick up the phone? That's the problem, right? Because with TikTok, it's very, very hard to get geocentric right now. That will change. That will change in a year, maybe 2 years. That will change. Because just like any other platform, the goal is to make the monies. And the more ways you can give to creators to make money, the more creation will happen, the more people will be on the platform. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the other way to do it with TikTok specifically is to do more like a Graham Stevens. Has anybody watched him? He's great. I watch him on YouTube. He put out TikTok and he started 2 TikTok channels and he's great. He was a real estate agent in California. That was his original gig, but now he's a creator. Like that's his actual job. He does not actually do more than $1 million in real estate a year anymore because he found that he's making so much off of YouTube and now TikTok. He's like, forget real estate.
Are you kidding me?
Mm-mm. No. And again, therein lies the problem, right? When you niche down so much, you got to start making choices as to what you're actually chasing. And you can't chase 2 rabbits. You got to pick one. And Graham decided, hey, I'm going to choose to pick up YouTube revenue, more like a Mr. Beast, and less like I want to sell a house, right? YouTube's along that line. It's a lot more developed. Again, branding play, major branding play. The upside to YouTube is it's literally a free platform. The downside to YouTube is it takes around 3 years to get going on it. I don't know anybody that's gotten going faster.
labor intensive.
It's labor intensive. Ken Posick is probably running the best current YouTube. He's in Orlando, Florida. He has great glasses and he has nice hair. I would buy a house from him. 100%. I'd buy a house from him. He's great. And if you're watching Ken.
Ken's a friend of ours.
Yeah. He does have great glasses. But he does a lot of Orlando-centric videos. Well, it's true. It's completely true. He has a lot of Orlando-centric videos, and now after about year 2 into it, he started picking up business that recognized him as the local expert for people that go onto YouTube and watch the videos. But it takes a while. You got to build a lot of content. You got to be consistent. You got to get out there organically, not paid version. There's a lot involved with it, right? It's a great branding play. So we're doing it now, and we're about 7 months in, and I can trace 2 clients to it so far, and that's it. So 7 months of doing at least a video a week, sometimes 2, and we're not break even. We're nowhere near it. You know what I mean?
Maybe one day.
Maybe, yeah, and we will get there. And actually the highest and best use right now that we're seeing from our YouTube is our agents, like literally giving those to their potential clients. Like, hey, I'm looking in Rochester. I'm considering that community. Awesome. Check out this video on downtown Rochester that we did. I'm thinking about Novi. Awesome. Check out this video on Novi that we did. Right? Checking out Royal Oak. Great. We did a day in Royal Oak. Check that video out. And then people look at it, they're like, oh, wow, they are the expert.
I feel like that's adding value.
It does. That's a great point. And that's right now our highest and best use is using our YouTube channel, like our agents using it to add value to that relationship. And then we also have market updates, so something a little more serious that shows off our financial savvy and prowess, right? And that's the intention, because you need to both entertain and teach, but you can't do one without the other and be successful. That make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as a direct lead driver, this is a 2 to 4 year play, right? And then you guys start asking yourselves, what am I really getting after? So like Glenda Baker, again, just going to her as an example, she just yells at the camera for like 3 minutes and then gets off. That's her thing. And she does yell. But she's got to let people that will call her now. She's getting 4 or 5 people a month that are calling her now and saying, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house and I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm thinking about buying a house and I'm in Tampa. I'm thinking about buying a house and I'm in Austin. She serves none of those areas. But then she refers people to agents in those areas and picks up 10, 20, whatever % referral fee. And that's actually becoming her business, right? Christina Smallhorn's another one where she's got 150,000 subscribers now. And she actually stopped practicing real estate because she's getting people from all over the country, and all she's doing is referring them back out. And let's be real, at 150,000 subscribers, she's making five to $8 grand a month just on her YouTube channel from YouTube income. And it took her 4 years to get there, but she was very consistent and she worked very hard to get there.
What does she do? Just post videos about like real estate?
Yeah, all kinds of real estate.
It's Christina Snyder.
Smallhorn.
Smallhorn.
Yeah, she's very nice. She's a great lady. Questions on any of this side of the funnel?
It's like a job. Social media is a job.
Oh my God,
It's
social
so
God.
video, and you can niche all this stuff like way down, right? Because
I
you
agree,
can,
that's why we have a whole team that
Yeah.
does it. It's a job.
It is,
Yeah.
Dude, it's not one job, it's multiple.
yeah, and we're actually trying to hire another person because it's become so big. So we've got 2 people now that kind of run that, and we're looking for a third. That literally the job is be on social.
Morgan,
Okay.
how are you? Hey, how many social media closings did you do last year?
Anybody need this? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, just stuff that you can directly attribute to social media.
Great.
You did 0? How many SOI did you have?
Oops. Shit.
Oops.
A few like 15 or a few like 5? He said, I gotta look. Mike's so mad at me right now.
No, not
We're
bad.
teaching a class and Mike's trying to say you had 16 social media closings.
Where we at?
He
Okay.
said, feel free, nice. All right, that's all I had. We were just
Here.
in settle over that. See,
I gotta close up the stream there in Zoom.
you gonna close it?
Yeah, I gotta talk because they're consumers on there. I gotta talk to them for a minute. I'm gonna go outside and talk to them. You're up next.
All right, what was this?
All right, guys, I'm gonna pull you guys outside because I do see a couple of questions on there.
Okay.
I'll be back in a minute.
Perna expired.
All right. So I moved over to the other room and I got to throw my volume on. All right. So that was a little bit of a look behind the curtain on real estate and lead generation and how all of that works. And Austin's still going. So we're doing this one Saturday per month. Okay. Anybody can come, open to anybody that is considering getting into real estate, considering joining the team, just wants to know more about what it looks behind the curtain to be a real estate agent, and then all of those things. And that was it. Before I jump off of this thing, I do want to ask does anybody have any questions, comments, anything that they're thinking? Nothing at all. Okay. So before we jump off, one thing I do want to say is I do have a predictions for 2022 video coming out. It is going over 8 predictions of what's going to happen, not only in the real estate market, but also in the financial markets coming up in 2022. Teaser, number 1 is rents are going to continue to go up. So we saw them go up 16% here in Metro Detroit over the last 12 months. We saw them go up a little bit north of 14% nationwide. I think we're in for a little bit of a rough ride. I think we're going to see rents raise another 12 to 14%. So if you're listening to this and you are a renter, the action item is going to be literally get out in front of it and find out what your next rent and what your next lease is going to be. Right. And you can do that by calling if you're an apartment, calling your apartment complex and saying, hey, what are you currently leasing out 2 bedrooms for? Just anonymous, or 3 bedrooms or 1 bedroom or whatever it is that you have. You can do it by going on Zillow or something like that and looking at some of the rents for homes like yours that you're renting right now, homes or condos. Now there's a number of ways to do this, but one thing I don't want to do is I don't want people to get caught with a $200 or $250 or $300 increase in their rents and be surprised and then say, shoot, I should have went and bought a home, but now I'm stuck because I got to live somewhere. So I've got an actual friend where I told him, and he's actually a real estate agent. I told him 3 times, hey man, you really need to start considering buying something because your rents are going to be going up. And he's like, no, it's good. It's fine. I know the landlord. I rented from him for a couple of years. It's good. Sure enough, they raised his rent 25%. 25% on this release. Okay. So I want to be sure that you guys know that that is coming down the pipe and give you that option now on, hey, I'm 90 days or 6 months out from the release, from signing up the lease. Maybe I should look at making that purchase, and let's look at what those monthly payments would be. I think you'd be shocked to find that you'd be saving some good money there. That's it, guys. Let's get out of here. Anybody that's considering a gig in real estate, let me know.